Hello, true art believers, and welcome to today's live art stream. I am, wait. This is Pierson. I am the live art. I am the #1 live art streamer in the world. I don't even know the intro anymore. I just kind of like got lost for a second. Got some things on my mind that's been kind of like pulling my attention and just been kind of thinking about all day. So I am the #1 live art streamer in the world, and I got a piping hot drawing for you, and we're ready to kind of we're ready to hit the ground running. How about that? We're going to hit the ground running. We're going to start drawing, and it's going to be, it's another cactus. It's another day in paradise with cactuses. Anyways, let's begin today's drawing. Hope you enjoy. All right. Welcome, everyone. I hope you're having a wonderful day today. So we're going to be doing another cactus drawing. Let's see here. Let's see what's going on. Aha! And let's begin. Press G. Now we're going to do like we're going to do like an orange background. Like an orange background like this time. And then we're going to do, what we always been doing, what I've been always doing, which is using a very simple cactus shape. We're just going to, kind of do something like this. Kind of do like a little cactus kind of like this. Maybe give it like there we go. And then I'm going to mix it up a bit. All right. Nope. Let's see here. Let's give it some space. There we go. I'm going to give it like a narrow like pot. Nope. I'm going to shrink it down first. Enter. Now what we're going to do. There we go. I think I got it. It took me a minute to kind of figure out like how I wanted to do this. But I think this is it. There we go. And there's our pot, cactus. We're going to make it a little bit larger, and we're going to center it. Where is the center? Well, we're going to do it the other way. Hey, thank you. It just started. We just started. So we're it's just can only get better from here, And even if it doesn't get better, it's still something. It's something that you can claim that you did something good for the day, So it's centered. Now we're going to do like what we're going to do. We're going to do like just a simple rectangular background. All right, we're going to do a simple rectangular background. Get all these darn brushes out of the way. Here we go. And we did like an orange background. We're going to go do a red background. Just kind of do a quick red background, and then we're going to add tones on it afterwards, but right now we want to get the flats done. So basically what I do is I just kind of get some flats in there before I move forward with the drawing. So I always kind of deal with having some sort of flats with the drawing. So I'm going to do some flats here really quickly. Just do something like that. And I always do like a rectangular shape that is just slightly askew, and it's not a perfect rectangular shape, just a little bit off, So like a window that's off kilter or something. And I always find that was kind of fun to do, to kind of as an aesthetic device for the simple drawing that I'm doing. So it's like kind of framed. Press T, and we're going to move it. Oh, let's see here. Do I have the snap here? Aha! I learned something today. I learned that so I deactivated the snap feature on Photoshop because I was doing some portraits and I was using some guides for the portrait, and I was finding that those guides were snapping, or my marks were snapping to those guides, and I was like, I can't have that. So I didn't realize that the snap 2 also snap feature also allows me to is part of the reason why I can center the image. So for the pot, I typically use like an earthy tone. So it's going to be orange, a brownish orange. Maybe I might go a little bit yellow, like a brownish yellow, because the tone I used today, the tone I used is kind of like an orangish tone, and I don't want the pot to kind of mix in. I don't want the pot to mix in with my what would you call it? I don't want a pot that's kind of orange-ish in hue to mix in with my background here. So I'm gonna just avoid that altogether and have more of a yellow pot. I'd rather have that than kind of worry later on if my color is going to clash a little bit. So it's just some kind of way to kind of mitigate any errors that I might have later on in the drawing. And this is stuff that I've kind of like concluded after doing so many of these. You know, it's just something I kind of concluded after doing so many of these that I just kind of know what might happen. You know, it's another reason why I don't do a lot of green backgrounds because it clashes with the green of the cactus. So I'm going to do the sand, and the sand's going to be yellow. Oops, I think I used the eraser. There we go. I don't mind if the pot and the sand kind of blends together so much. I'm looking for like I just want some visual separation between the actual from the background and the objects in the foreground. Just some like stuff like that. I like to keep things simple that way. Now I know that this isn't correct perspective. That doesn't I'm not really worried about whether or not this is going to be the most perfect perspective. As a matter of fact, I actually like it if it's off just a little bit, you know. So so I don't mind it being off. Just doing the flats here, going on green. Here we go. Notice how I'm not really even, I follow the lines a little bit. It doesn't matter to me. I'm not too worried about whether or not the lines, I'm inside the lines. I'm just worried, just kind of, you know, doing it similar. So as long as it's close, I'm happy. But if I'm not close, you know, that's fine too. Because I don't really need the drawing to be perfect, right? Like everything's really off here, and I actually kind of like it that way. So there's some nice things happening there. So now lock this layer. We're gonna lock the pixel layer to this. I'm gonna zoom out real quick, and we're just gonna go throw in some yellows here, like that. Then maybe do like a blue here. Oh, I'm on pig. So I've been doing a lot of this where I have been kind of just fiddling around, and there I go. And then we like to do maybe a little bit of like a, there I go. And then I'm going to do like a black. I always like to use a little bit of like a dark tone, just a little bit here and there. And this is something I've been doing. Yeah. Kind of do. There we go. Like a, nope. There we go. So some of like curvilinear lines here and there. You want to keep it like that. Lock the layer, lock the background. Now, I don't keep the background like the orange tone. I don't really care if the orange tone like works with this background shape that I've drawn with all those colors. I'm not too worried about it. As a matter of fact, I think there's it kind of relieves me a little bit to not focus on that, right? So I feel a little bit more relieved um, in knowing that. There we go. We're gonna go a little bit. So I actually might need to go a little bit more red in the background. We'll see. We'll see. So as what you can see me doing right now is I'm kind of playing around a little bit of contrast. I'm making sure that this forward shape is brighter right here, and then it gets a little bit darker on the right side here. And I want this to feel a little bit stronger with contrast, and having it kind of go against this bright tone here. I think that's what I'm playing around with right now is that tone. So now we're going to go and we're going to add the background. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. There we go. All right, all I need to do is make those marks here. We're going to do the same thing here. Oh, oops. All right, let's do this. Kind of do this like tone here. I don't even know if it's bright enough. Maybe make it a little bit brighter. And I love doing this where it's kind of like this like super abstract off kilter shape that is supposed to be a pot, but it's like a pot in like a weird dimension where there are no right angles. It's just like slightly off. Everything's slightly off, just a little bit, you know. And I kind of like doing it like that, you know. I think it makes it a little bit more, you know, it makes it interesting to me. So that's why I kind of do it that way, where it's just lightly, everything's a little bit darker, everything's a little bit off. The angles aren't, you know, quite right on a lot of these forms here. And that's all kind of on purpose to an extent, you know. So I'm personally making this a little bit brighter here because I want the separation to be a little bit more visible between the top of that and the bottom. So we have to make this a little bit darker here. We're actually kind of going behind, we're behind schedule actually. Now, there's one more layer. This is what I like to do. I like to, oh no, I like to add tones that are, oh, I like that. There we go. I like that tones right here. It's a little bit something like that. You know, just kind of do stuff like this, kind of add a little bit of contrast between the area that I'm working in You know, I act as if there's a so there we go. Like even stronger top. Something like that, maybe a little. And now we're gonna go ahead and add a little bit of stuff like that. Add some, maybe like some, kind of like some red. I don't like that. Yeah, we could do something like this. There we go. Add some yellow, some darker yellow on the left side here. All right, now onto the sand. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna erase some sand right here on this edge. We're gonna erase some of it, like right here. There we go. I want some of that sand gone. I'm gonna erase some of the sand right here. So it feels more in line. Okay, I think that's pretty good. Oops. Now we're gonna lock the layer and lock the pixels actually. And using, there you go. Probably make a even more yellow, dark yellow tone. Add some more of an orangish, more of an orange hue. Sorry, I'm trying to like say something. I can't really say it too well. I can't say good words good. Nah. All right, kind of add some. There you go, something like that. All right. Now we're gonna add like a dark pink right here, and maybe even add like some ridiculously bright. I like doing this, you know, adding a little bit of color from the background on the foreground a little bit. So that's something I've been doing a lot lately, is sprinkling more color variety on these objects. Getting a little like, kind of getting adventurous with it actually. Yeah, so something like that. There we go. And now that's done. Now we're going to zoom out. Not bad. It's kind of fun. It's like everything's kind of off kilter here, and that's great. That makes it kind of fun. Now on the cactus, what we do is we use the airbrush and just kind of do like a quick like simplification of tones, real quick, um, with the layers locked, right? So this is going to be the right side. It's going to be the dark side. In fact, we should probably let's make it bright and like more saturated. And then we're going to make it darker on here on this side. I'm just going to pretend that the cast shadow is kind of coming right here. So like this whole area is going to be really dark. And then maybe add a little bit darker here. Now I just do that for just simplicity's sake. The next part is using my texture brush, and we're slightly going backwards in a sense. So we're going to use a 20 pixel version of this. I'm going to do like a dark line. I'm just going to kind of make some lines here. There we go. Let's kind of do that. Add some lines here. Do the same here. I don't like putting a lot of lines on the arms, mainly because it usually takes me a little bit too much time to do those. So I try to avoid those a little bit. Same thing here. So I'll put like maybe one line and another line like that. There we go. And from there we start, let's actually make them a little bit darker to an extent. No, I think that's dark enough at the moment. Now we're gonna go lighter, and we're gonna go in between this layer and the background layer and add a, I don't know what we're going to add. We're going to add it. So we're making good time because it's the 20-minute mark and we're on the cactus, which is pretty good, which gives me 10 minutes to really kind of dial in these forms a little bit. I know it seems like, oh, it's not, 10 minutes is not a lot of time to do this, but to be able to get this point this early on, it's actually quite nice. All right, so now we're going to go in. We're just going to go slightly lighter, maybe more saturated. And we're going to go change the color, the green color a little bit. Maybe make the color a little bit more yellow. Yeah. Even go brighter than that. There you go. So now you can see the color separation to an extent. Kind of add these tones here. And this is just a thing that I've been doing lately. And it's not like a perfect process, but it's something I've been working on for a while, and I think it works pretty good for the type of aesthetic that I'm going for with these cactus drawings. So it's allowed me to kind of trim down the time of the drawing, which is nice. And whenever you're doing drawings like this over and over again, your goal is to kind of want to trim down the time and make them a little bit more effective, quicker, to create an outcome over and over again. So that's my goal here, is to kind of create quicker outcomes. So quicker outcomes, but also improving at the same time. So always doing something a little bit different and always improving just ever so slightly, not by like leaps and bounds, because sometimes there's days where you're like, what's happening? What am I not doing? What am I doing differently? Like on this one, what I'm doing a little bit different is I'm kind of doing like more splotchy marks for fun to see how that looks and see how I like that. And I kind of like that. It's kind of making it a little bit more dynamic, make it a little bit more, at the very least, more varied. And then we're gonna go even brighter. And the brighter areas, I'm just gonna kind of focus on the right side here. I think they need it. And I'm gonna do one more layer where I kind of go over and kind of fine tune some of these areas. And it's going to be on top of the black. It's going to be on top of this area right here of this line. So, but that's going to be a minute. I want to kind of really dial these in a little bit. Yeah, so we're getting there, almost done. 23 minutes. All right, so the next thing is I do a layer on top, and this is where I kind of put a mixture between like really dark tones um, and play around with some of this stuff. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit. So this, we're going to kind of really darken up on the left side here. I'm going to play around with the dark tones here. This is where I kind of add some of the contrast that I've been doing with my previous cactuses. This is kind of like the last final touches to it. It's not like it's a, it's not like it seals the deal, but definitely kind of, in my opinion, makes it feel a little bit more, it adds that final touch to it, especially with the amount of time that I have left with these drawings, right? I try to get these done in 30 minutes. I might get this done in 30 minutes. It depends on how long I work on these final touches. Like, it might be done soon. I'm still kind of feeling around, and I haven't got to that point where I know, like, oh, this is where I stop, So I've gotten better in knowing when I stop, but I still haven't, like, I don't got, like, it's not like I have a set spot where, like, this is enough. So I'm still working on defining when that time is and when do I stop drawing on it. And so I don't think I'm going to get I'm not going to have that answered within the next 9 drawings, that's for sure. But I've gotten closer to it. All right, so we're going to make this area a little bit darker on the bottom. Not too dark now. Add some of this, add some highlights right here. Add some like a highlight right here. Like a specific highlight right here. Kind of really go a little bit brighter on this side, just a smidge than the rest. I'm kind of like slouching because I'm getting really in tune to it. Zoom out. I'm going to try to zoom out. That's pretty good. All right. I think what I'm going to do is do my final touches, which is I'm going to incorporate some of the tones in the background. Maybe a little bit. I don't know. I'm pretty happy with it like this. Like I really am happy with like this. I don't know if I want to have any of the background tones to it. So like this is what I would normally do is I would normally like add like a maybe a little bit like a little. So this is where I add a little bit of like the teal here, you know. So maybe what I might do is I might be very, very sparse with it and make it more minute. So like here, what I'll do is I'll just kind of add just a little bit, you know, very little, like you can barely see it. You know, do the same thing here. Just a little bit. A little bit here. You know. And then we're going to do the same. Using red, we're going to determine, okay, we're going to determine adding like a darker red here. So just a little bit of red in the dark tones here. And sometimes this helps with separating the, see that? Just a little bit of red there. Not a lot. You know, this is something I can play around with is kind of add a little bit of that dark red into some of these shadows so that it kind of comes together. The background and foreground come together a little bit better. It's not a lot like that. So I think that's good enough. Just a little bit of red here and a little bit of the blue here. I think that's fine. I kind of like it like this. So now we're going to do some thorns. You know, do some thorns using this, and we're going to try to be really sparing with it. You know, I don't want to spend a lot of time on them because I have a tendency of doing too many thorns. So we're going to use 11 pixels here, and we're just going to kind of do very sparing, like zigzag or yeah, very sparing. So as you can see, I'm just kind of adding a piece here and there. I actually enjoy having thorns that are kind of farther away. And I typically kind of zigzag them a little bit. So I kind of just do zigzag, zigzag. It's kind of like doing V's upside down, like V's, like repeated V's, essentially. Although I'm taking my time on this. I have to slow down on this specifically because I typically, if I don't, I typically go a little too fast and I start adding way more thorns than are necessary. So I've been trying to mitigate that and slow down on where I place these thorns and make them feel evenly spaced, you know. So that's why I kind of do it this way. There's a thorn right here. All right, so the thorn's done on that side. Now we got a few more. So again, I got to slow down because I have the tendency to kind of go overboard on where I place these thorns, and it's a thing that I know of myself that I tend to do everything kind of to the extreme. Like I often think like, well, if this many thorns is good, what if I double it, right? If the, or like if this is a good cactus drawing, or the marks that I'm making right now is good, why don't I add more marks? And that's what I typically do is I kind of like go overboard and I'll do everything in excess. And I never have like I have a problem with like subtlety with my drawing sometimes. Like with the backgrounds, sometimes I'll go way over is necessary for a desired effect. Like I'll think, oh well, what if this many colors is good? What if I add more shapes and colors? And I start doing that, and all of a sudden, what made it nice is gone. You know, the cool effect that I was receiving earlier is gone. You know, and so I have to kind of do a little bit of self-reflection and know that this is a habit or a tendency, you know. And so that's what I'm trying to do when I am drawing these cactuses now. It took me like 80 tries for me to realize that. I'm trying to zoom out. There we go. Okay, so this is done. Let's zoom in on the bottom here. And we're at 8 pixels. And before I even go further, I want to check my history. Aha, okay. Sometimes I have a tendency to, when I'm changing colors and I move, I press, I worry that I made a mark somewhere that shouldn't be there. All right, so let's see. P21, 184 out of 200. And there we go. Let's put a V on it. I'm going to move it around. There we go. Kind of move it down there. And then that is it, my friends. I hope you enjoyed this. Let's see here. There we go. I have all these windows everywhere I need to minimize. Oops, I even minimized that window. There we go. I closed the window out. All right. I hope you enjoyed this drawing process. It turned out pretty good. And this is like literally the culmination of just trial and error. Because as I said, for those that have been watching this process, I started out from a tutorial, and then I've kind of tweaked it and kind of made it my own. And now there is something I kind of reverse engineered the process. And so and this is where I've come. And I think it's quite the not the accomplishment, but it's really nice to see that I've come to some sort of like established way of doing these drawings. Uh, and it's really helpful. So I hope you enjoyed this not podcast, this live stream. Just want to say that I am the #1 live art streamer in the world. This is Pierson here, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you for stopping by. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Have a wonderful day. Cheers.